Hello everybody, this is AG here, and welcome once again to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Been saying that a lot over the past week, let me tell you that. But hey, a bunch of great events here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for Indy 250 week, and it's our last single car qualifying that we do for this week. This is qualifying for the Freedom 50 single car qualifying. 18 drivers in the field for this year's prelude to the Indianapolis 250, which will be run tomorrow, Friday, May 26th at noon Eastern Time, right after the Carb Day practice session. And we're all leading up to the Indianapolis 250 on Saturday. But unfortunately, 3 drivers attempted that race who are not going to be in the Indianapolis 250. But those 3 drivers will be in the Freedom 50 tomorrow, and they will qualify here today. Bruno Di Giacomo in the 80 was the slowest driver in Sunday's last 9 shootout. And then Thomas Troxell and Ace Garcia join him in this race, along with 15 other drivers, who 2 of them making their first career starts on the channel here tomorrow for the Freedom 50. But some guys who have also had some experience in this race in the past. So 18 drivers, all different levels of experience. It's going to be very fascinating to see who goes to victory lane in the prelude. This is a special event. No points on the line for this event. So it's all about winning the race. Nothing else matters for it. So definitely going to be fascinating to see how the race ends up playing out tomorrow. Of course, it's going to be a 20-lap race with no pit stops. And it really is anybody's game. However, we've seen the past couple of times we've run this race. Of course, the last year we ran it was 2021, went on a hiatus for this race last year. Drivers have led over half the race who have gone the victory lane, so you definitely want to get up front as quick as you can and hold that race lead, because if you can hold that race lead once you get to a certain point with the tire wear, a good opportunity you're going to get the race victory here in this Freedom 50. Qualifying order is listed on your screen right there. Marcus Glitch and Demar Patriot, 2 drivers who are making their first career starts, they will go out first. And the order here for qualifying determined by the amount of wins on the channel and then the amount of starts. I will say I did a ballpark estimate with the drivers and how many starts they have on the channel. So it may not be exact, but roughly speaking is the order from starts to wins in terms of lowest to highest. So Marcus Glitch will go out first. Demar Patriot will be second. MJ Williams will go out fourth. Will go out third, excuse me. Bruno Di Giacomo will go out fourth, one of the Indy 250 DNQs. Loudovick Charette will go out fifth. Brennan Wilmington will go out sixth. Stephen Colon, Chris Tejada, Bryon Webb, Will Parrish, Pria McShane, Laura Chung, Igor Barreto, Andrew Miller, Samet Ozkan, Ace Garcia, a Indy 250 DNQ, Richard Kinghart, and Thomas Troxell. Of course, we all know the boatload of struggles Troxell has had this week here in Indianapolis. Wrecked out in the Wawa Winners Showdown, and of course failed to qualify for the Indianapolis 250 after not even posting a time on Saturday. We'll have to see what he can do in the Freedom 50. This is basically his last chance, other than tomorrow night's Coke 600. We'll just have to see how it all goes down for him. But last chance here at Indianapolis, I should say. You know, Charlotte is Charlotte. Indianapolis is Indianapolis. And going to be interesting to see what Thomas Troxell can do. He'll be the last driver to go out here. Let's go ahead and get this started. Marcus Glitch, first career start. Let's see what he does on his lap here in Freedom 50 qualifying. And here we go to begin Freedom 50 qualifying. You guys know the drill. One car at a time. I was about to say 1 car per person, realistic names only. This is not a sign-up video. Hey, I'm losing it here, guys. Hey, Indy 250 week. It's a special week, and you know, once we get through it, then it's all worth it. And hey, I love doing it. And, you know, even though it's been very busy, I have loved every minute of recording all these practice sessions and support races and everything, all leading up to the big race on Saturday. And here we go with Marcus Glitch in the 22, first career start on the channel, driving the 22 machine. There are no teams, essentially, here in the Freedom 50. So that's why all the numbers look the same for 15 of the cars in terms of the number style. I use the Rockwell Extra Bold font. These drivers are going to be relatively close to the IndyCar guys. However, it is a sunny racetrack here for qualifications. A little bit warmer, so they're not going to be quite as fast, but they'll be comparable times. We'll have to see how comparable it actually is. 2:10 as a minimum there through turn number 2 for Marcus Glitch. And I got nothing on this guy. There's nothing for me to say about Marcus Glitch coming into this race. 222 there in the turn number 3. Some good speed there, 212 off the exit. And going to minimize at 208, 207 actually, through turn number 4. So a bit slower than the Indy cars. These guys do essentially run the same speeds as the Indy cars, but the times will be slower there, as you can see. 41.621. We'll have to see what that ends up comparing to with the next 17 drivers. Next driver in line, the other driver making their first career start on the channel, Demar Patriot in the 19 machine. And we'll have to see what Demar Patriot can do. We'll say, though, development driver to Dale Johnson II, who's been making some starts over there in the Wawa Sprint Series. Actually won a race in the Wawa Sprint Series at Rockingham earlier this year. And the time set by Marcus Glitch, a 41.621. So we'll have to see what Patriot can do in comparison to that. Past winners of this race. None of the past winners are in this year's Freedom 50. Dana Mon won the first edition in 2015. Then Eric Almenhart, Julius Anderson, Audra Baranowskis went on to win the Indy 250 the year after she won this race. This is 215 into the corner there for Demar Patriot. Minimum of 209 off the exit of turn number 1, so this might be a bit slower here than Glitch's time, hitting 209 there off the exit of turn 2. John Arndt won it in 2019, Keegan Thompson won it in 2020, and then Landon Smith Jr., the last winner of this race 2 years ago in 2021. Of course, Landon Smith Jr. will be in the Indianapolis 250, however. So still a little bit of history from this race. Moving on to that one. This is absolutely going to be a slower time than what Marcus Glitch set. Coming across the line here for Demar Patriot, going to be a 41.781. So a little bit slower there than what Marcus Glitch ran, but regardless of the fact, none of these guys have to worry about failing to qualify for this race. Let's go on to our next driver, MJ Williams. Here we go for our third driver of the day here in Freedom 50 qualifying. This is MJ Williams, number 11 New Balance machine. I'll also notice none of these cars actually have manufacturers either. They're just plain Dallara chassis. So simple as that. Dallara is the manufacturer. I don't know what the engine supplier is. But regardless of the fact, this is a serious race. We try to be light, we joke around a little bit, but regardless of the fact, this is definitely a race you want to win. Even though it's not the Indianapolis 250, definitely a race that has always put on a great show, but also a race that turns out so much differently than the Indianapolis 250 as well. As I mentioned earlier on, past few races here in the Freedom 50 have been won by drivers who led more than half of the race, and once they took the race lead, they didn't look back either. Bit slow there in the turn 1 for MJ Williams, at least in comparison to Marcus Glitch. Oh boy, hitting 208 there off the exit. It's a little windier here today than it was over the weekend in MD250 qualifications, and of course with the sun out, it's 80 degrees, a little warmer as well, so that all contributes for a slightly slower racetrack, less grip there. Just barely hit 222 into the corner. With a minimum of 211 off the exit of turn number 3, and going to minimize 206. I think this is going to be slower than Demar Patriot's time. MJ Williams in the number 11, looking for his first ever open wheel start. Going to be 41.868. That is third quickest so far here in Freedom 50 qualifying. Here's our next driver in line, and a driver who attempted to qualify the Indianapolis 250, but unfortunately DNQ'd. This is Bruno Di Giacomo in the number 80 machine. I guess effectively for NS Racing, if you want to call it, but there are no official owners, so no one does get an official owner's win, because that would really be unfair, because if you really want to be technical, the 15 other cars are all for Otter Island Motorsports, and you got the one NS Racing car, the one Crown Ultra Racing car, and the one Dutch Atlantis Racing car, and I got everybody outnumbered there. So it would be unfair, so no official owners. But Bruno Di Giacomo, absolutely disappointed, no doubt about it, missing that Indianapolis 250, and he was so close to making it in on Saturday as well. He was right on the line, right on the cusp of being able to clinch a spot for the last 7 or 8 guys on Saturday, and every single one of those guys were faster than him, and then went on to the last night shootout and was the slowest driver. I don't think they were quite anticipating that happening. And unfortunately, here he is in the Freedom 50. But fortunately, he's in the Freedom 50 here this year. Past years, that would not have been the case. pretty solid time here out of the 80. We'll have to see what his minimum speed is right here. Ooh, he hit 206 there. Not as long, though, as MJ Williams or Demar Patriot. I think this is going to be good enough for the second fastest time. Across the line, Bruno Di Giacomo goes 41.787, just below Demar Patriot. That is third quickest here in Freedom 50 qualifying. Here we go for our fifth driver of the day, Loudovick Charette in the 14. His first ever start in the Wawa Cup Series earlier this season. Has been full-time over there. Been a pretty solid season for him over in the Wawa Cup Series. He's yet to go to victory lane, but going to be his first open-wheel start here in the Freedom 50. Driving the number 14 Nemours Children's Health Machine. And Loudovick, definitely a driver to watch out for in this race. I feel like he's a guy who could pull it off. I'm a bit surprised, too, by the fast time Marcus Glitch actually said. I thought that was going to be kind of more middle of the road, but everyone since the 22 has been much slower here. We'll have to see what Loudovick Charette can do in the 14 machine. Across the line, this one's absolutely going to be a faster time. 2:16 in the turn number 1. If he can hold the grip there through turn number 1, he's going to have a good opportunity here at possibly getting to the top of the board here in Freedom 50 qualifying. A minimum of 2:10 through turn 2. Some good speed here down the backstretch. He's going to easily hit 2:23, I feel like. Yep, there he went. Keeping the speed there through turn number 3. Of course, when we had the qualifying session for the Wawa Winter Showdown, those stock cars were really sliding all over the place. Not the case for these open wheel machines. So much grip on these guys. They're over 200 miles per hour the entire way around the racetrack. Loudovick Charette. That is not good enough to beat Marcus Glitch's time. Second quickest, 41.632 for the number 14. That 22 may just win the pole here. We're just going to have to wait and see. Brennan Wilmington. This is definitely a big name when it comes to this race. Finished runner-up in 2021 here in the Freedom 50. And also then ran in last year's Indianapolis 250. Unfortunately, attempted to sign up for the Indianapolis 250 this year. Just barely missed out. Henceforth, why he is in this ride for the Freedom 50 as a consolation. Hence, that's why this race exists. Is a consolation for those who barely missed. I thought those 10 slots would fill up fast, and I was right. And I wanted to make sure that there's at least something for those who just barely missed out. And Chris Tejada, Brennan Wilmington, those two drivers who barely missed out, who are in this Freedom 50. But Brennan Wilmington wants to go one position higher this year. Just barely lost out. Almost got to Lance Smith Jr. in the 2021 edition of this race. Not as quick there as Loudovick Charette in the turn number 1. A little bit slower off the exit. Marcus Glitch looking pretty good here for his first ever start in that 22 machine. Really didn't know what the time would really be comparable to everybody else coming into this session with the warmer racetrack, a little bit less grip on the racetrack. 2:22 into the corner. But it does appear that Marcus Glitch absolutely put down a fast time, at least comparable to some of these other times we have seen so far. Not a bad time here for Brennan Wilmington. This might be good enough for third here, but it's going to be right around that 7.8 mark. And 7.52, that is third quickest for Brennan Wilmington. He goes to third on the leaderboard here in Freedom 50 qualifying. Stephen Colon, next driver in line here, the number 18 machine. And another driver who has never gone to victory lane before, but he actually has a technical championship on the channel. Won the Turkey Hill National Series Championship in 2021, which is now official, essentially, at this point, even though that was a shortened season. Solid driver, but has never gone to victory lane before, and a great opportunity to go to victory lane here in this Freedom 50. We'll have to see what he can do here in qualifying. Cross the line here, 2:13. He's not going to quite hit 2:16. You got to hit 2:16 in the turn 1 to get to Marcus Glitch's time, and then Loudovick Charette there. But we'll see if Stephen Colon can improve his time on the later part of the course. Just barely hit 2:09 right there through turn 2. Going down the backstretch here. Not really carrying that speed too well. Going to hit 2:22. Held it for about a second right there. And going to be another comparable time here to Brendan Wilmington, right around the 41.7 range, I do believe. Gonna barely touch 206 there off the exit of turn number 4, and here we come across the line for Stephen Colon. He is going to clock in at a 41.782. That's just below Demar Patriot to 5th. So that's where Stephen Colon is currently. Next driver in line, Chris Tejada in the number 2. Chris Tejada, next driver in line, along with Brennan Wilmington, another driver who attempted to get a ride for the Indy 250 3 weeks ago and unfortunately could not get in. So therefore, placed in the number 2 for this race. I think Chris Tejada has been in this event before in the past as well, but has never gone the victory lane. We still got one more driver. Half of the drivers in this race have never won a race on the channel before, so 50-50 chance we'll have a first-time winner tomorrow afternoon. Or tomorrow at noon. I mean, it still will be afternoon when the finish occurs for the race. In the Eastern time zone, at least. Hey, regardless of the fact, Chris Tejada definitely a strong driver to watch out for. Of all the drivers who have not gone the victory lane before, one of the more experienced drivers, but going to be a bit of a slower time right here. 2:14 in the turn number 1 for him. Not exactly what he wants right there. And through turn number 2, he held 209 pretty much the whole way through the corner right there. Might be faster than MJ Williams, but I don't know if it's going to be as fast as Bruno Di Giacomo. He's not even going to hit 222 in the turn number 3, so definitely one of the slower times we have seen here. I will say, though, I think when Landon Smith Jr. won this race, he started in the 17th position, I think. There's only 18 starters for this year's race instead of 20 like it has been the past few times we've run it. That's a 41.946. That is the slowest time that we have seen so far here today. Bryon Webb going to complete the first half of drivers here in Freedom 50 qualifying. Driving the Cheddar's machine. You know what? I had Cheddar's for the first time ever right around this time last year in Indianapolis. That croissant is the best thing I think I've ever eaten. Hopefully we get to go to Cheddar sometime on my way back. What a great place. That's why it's on this car. Bryon Webb driving the Cheddar's machine here. Number 8 machine. And Bryon Webb, the last driver who has never gone to victory lane before in any race on the channel. They're running full-time over in the Haas, or not in the Haas IndyCar Series. He wouldn't be in this race if that were the case. In the Wawa Cup Series, I should say. Bit slow there in the corner, did not quite hit 216. Of course, actually, 215 is a pretty solid time. That's about right around the middle part of it. 209 off the exit here of turn number 2. And I imagine this is going to be right around third place there, maybe. For another 41.7. Looking like that's what it's going to be here for Bryon Webb in the 8 machine. I think a bit on the slower end. Probably around Stephen Colon, Bruno Di Giacomo, Demar Patriot around that section right there. It's 206 for quite a while. This might actually be below Bruno Di Giacomo's time. Should be good enough for 7th, I feel like. Across the line, 41.818. And I'm right. 7th quickest there for Bryon Webb in the number 8 machine. Here we go for our 10th driver of the day here in Freedom 50 qualifying. Will Parrish in the number 8 machine. Number 6 machine, excuse me. Why didn't I say 8? That was Bryon Webb who was in the 8 machine. In the Wawa machine. I heard Wawa's looking to expand out to Indianapolis. Not Indianapolis, Indiana and Ohio and all that. That'd be great. Get a Wawa hoagie before the Indy 500. That'd be awesome. Will Parrish, though, first driver in this session who has won a race before on the channel, won the Wawa Sprint Series race at Las Vegas. This is going to be a fast time. He hit 217 there in the turn number 1. Of course, Will Parrish does have experience, quite a bit of experience, as a matter of fact, behind the wheel on the channel. I don't know about open wheel. Can't remember if he's ever made a start in this race before. I think he attempted the Indy 250 at one point. But there's just so much, I just can't remember. He's going to be 223 for an extended period of time there in the turn number 3, excuse me. And the number 6 machine going to minimize there at 207 off the exit of turn 4. I would imagine this is going to be the new fastest time here in Freedom 50 qualifying. Across the line, Will Parrish going to go to a 41.526, nearly nearly a tenth faster, I should say, than Marcus Glitch earlier on. New fastest time here in Freedom 50 qualifying. It is Will Parrish in the number 6. Here we go for Pria McShane in the number 26, 11th driver here today. And she's gotten 3 career wins on the channel. And I should have gone back and seen if any of these drivers have made starts in this race before. I went back and checked out all the winners, and none of them are qualifying for this year's Freedom 50 this year. But regardless of the fact, Pria McShane, a great driver. Like I said, 3 career wins on the channel. 2 of those came in the Turkey Hill National Series a couple of years ago. She's been running some races over in the Wall Sprint Series, so keeping everything sharp right there. And I know she's going to be a threat to win this one here for the Freedom 50, no doubt about it. We'll see what kind of time she can clock in here. 41.526 for Will Parrish. 2:15 across the line to 16. She held it for quite a bit right there. This is going to be a fast time. I don't think it's going to be quite as fast to beat Will Parrish here, but it's definitely going to be a good one. 2:11. She barely hit 2:10 off the exit there. That's good speed there. Going down the backstretch, we'll have to see if she can hit 2:23. She got that. Held it for quite a while. This is going to be a tight one. This is going to be close with Parrish. I think it's going to just be a notch below the 6 right here. But a good time nonetheless for Pria McShane in the number 26. Coming across the line, the number 26 of Pria McShane. She's going to clock in here a fast time, 41.540. That is second quickest so far here out of 11 drivers. Solid time there for Pria McShane here in Freedom 50 qualifying. Next driver in line, Laura Chung in the number 7. One of the lower experienced drivers who have wins, but she's gotten 4 career wins on the channel before, all coming in the Turkey Hill Truck Series last fall. And she's been running over in the Wall Cup Series full-time this year. Could have been a better season for going into Coke 600 tomorrow, but regardless of the fact, I know she's going to be a strong driver in tomorrow's Freedom 50. We'll have to see what the number 7 can, in fact, do here. Of course, past 2 drivers, Will Parrish and Pria McShane, 2 fastest so far. They are getting faster out there. We'll have to see what Laura Chung can do. She's not quite getting the speed across the line that those 2 drivers did, however. And going to hit 2:15 for just a split second. They're going to be one of the slower times that we have seen so far here in Freedom 50 qualifying. .209 there off the exit of turn number 2. Of course, some of the faster drivers have hit 2:23 going down the backstretch here. Of course, these times are much slower than what we saw over the weekend for the Haas IndyCar Series. But a lot of that does have to do with the fact that the sun is out and the track is much warmer than it was over the weekend. So we had cooler temperatures and a cloudy racetrack then. Laura Chung going to come across the line right here. And she's going to clock in at a 41.854. That is 10th quickest of 12 drivers. She's going to be starting the back of the field for tomorrow's Freedom 50. 13th driver in line, a driver who has been in quite a few Indy 250s in the past. Igor Barreto in the number 15 machine here. Of course, unfortunately missed out on a ride for the Indianapolis 250 this year. Of course, longtime owner of Titan Fury Racing over in the Wawa Cup Series. They've had a great season so far. Almost won the winner's showdown here on Tuesday with Drew Webb. And they did get a win as a team at Kansas earlier in the month. But Igor Barreto as a driver has won 4 times in his career. We'll look for number 5 here in the Freedom 50. Coming across the line here for number 15. A lot of these faster drivers have also hit 2:15 across the line. Barreto almost hit it. He's going to hit 2:16, and he held it for quite a while right there. Going to be one of the faster times we've seen so far. 2:10, though, as a minimum through turn number 1. And he's going to hold 2:10 through turn 2 as well, so pretty fast there. In turns 1 and 2 for Igor Barreto. See if he can hit 2:23 right here. If he can hit 2:23, he's going to have an opportunity at dethroning Parrish at the pole, but couldn't hold it for quite that long there, so I think this is going to be good enough for the 3rd quickest right now. As Pria McShane was just a notch below Will Parrish right there. Got a minimum of 2:07 off the exit of turn number 4. That is the slowest corner on the race course right there. And Igor Barreto, I think that's going to be good enough for 3rd. It, in fact, will be good enough for 4th. Just below Marcus Glitch there for Igor Barreto at a 41.624. Here's Andrew Miller in the number 10 machine. going to be in the booth with us on Saturday for the Indianapolis 250 alongside Micah Knapp. Of course, both drivers have called the Indy 250 in the past, and both drivers have seen Nicholas Samadillo win the Indy 250 as well. So we'll have to see if Nicholas Samadillo wins his third on Saturday. We'll be starting mid-pack in Saturday's race. But Andrew Miller going to be running here in the Freedom 50. We got 5 drivers left here in Freedom 50 qualifying. After Miller, it's Ozkan, Ace Garcia, Richard Kinghart, and Thomas Troxell. A lot of very experienced drivers coming up here in this qualifying session. But Andrew Miller going to come across the line right here to begin his fast lap. We'll see what it ends up going to. We got ourselves a 41.526 as the fastest time. Miller's not going to reach that. Going to barely hit 2:15. Going to be one of the slower times here that we have seen in qualifying. The good thing for these guys, though, they don't have to worry about failing to qualify this race, as all 18 entries will start in tomorrow's event. But still, you definitely want to start up front, especially considering, whoever gets up front at around lap 5, lap 6 could very well lead the rest of the race and go to victory lane. Another thing, we haven't had a caution in this race in quite a few years as well, so it's usually a caution-free race with no pit stops, so you got to get to the front when you can, because not much of an opportunity to get to the front if everything spreads out. 41.861. That's good enough for 12th out of 14 drivers, for Andrew Miller. Going to be starting towards the back in tomorrow's race. Samet Ozkan, next driver in line. Of course, Ozkan's been really good over in the Wawa Cup Series, Wawa Sprint Series. Won a race in the Wawa Cup Series. Been doing excellent in the Wawa Sprint Series. I think, I haven't recorded the Sprint Series race from Charlotte yet, but I think going into that Charlotte race, he is the new points leader. No, it's Skylar Taylor, but he's still up there in the standings in the Wawa Sprint Series. But that's a stock car. This is open wheel machine, but Ozkan definitely a driver who could easily win this Freedom 50. Driving the Culver's machine, number 20 machine. It's another place I want to get to on my trip to Indianapolis. I don't have those things around where I am, and I know I'm missing out. I'm looking forward to getting back to a Culver's. Samet Ozkan is not looking forward to this lap. It's absolutely going to be one of the slowest ones. Didn't even hit 2:15. Going to be right at the bottom of the field right here. May even be slower than 42 seconds. Maybe above 42 seconds right there. Not looking too good for Ozkan right here. But the good thing is only 18 drivers in this race. Only 18 cars. So it won't take too much to work up through the field, but going to be interesting to see if Ozkan can move up, along with some of the guys who are going to be starting in the back of the field. Will Parrish still in position to win this pole? I think this is going to be the slowest time of the day right here for Samet Ozkan. Not at all what I expected out of the number 20 across the line, 41.956. That is the slowest time. Only 3 drivers left. However, 2 of them have had a lot of experience in the open wheel machines here this weekend, or this week, I should say. It's Ace Garcia and Thomas Troxell, and Ace Garcia next in line in the number 27. 3 drivers left. Ace Garcia next in line, 16th driver here in Freedom 50 qualifying, and yet another driver who attempted the Indianapolis 250 and failed to qualify, and that's a tough break for Ace Garcia, who would have been running in his 6th Indianapolis 250. Had been in that race many times before, and matter of fact finished 7th last year in the Indy 250, but failed to qualify for this year's event. Gonna attempt the Freedom 50, have an opportunity at a race victory though still during Indy 250 week. Of course, this Haas IndyCar Series is the only series he does run in, and he will be back behind the wheel of the 27 at Road America in about 3 weeks' time. This is going to be a good lap, and he's going to hit 2:17 for a split second in the turn number 1 right there. And I know Ace Garcia is a driver who is definitely going to use what happened to him over the weekend as motivation to run well on this Freedom 50. And we'll have to see if he can get this pole position, which is very, very possible he might. Will he hit 2:24? He didn't, but he held 2:23 for quite some time. And he peaked at 2:17 there in the turn number 1. Going to minimize at 2:07, just barely. Of course, that's the slowest corner on the track right there. I think this might beat Will Parrish's time across the line, 41.512. We got ourselves a new provisional pole sitter. That's Ace Garcia in the number 27, going to the top of the board here in Freedom 50 qualifying. 17th driver here in Freedom 50 qualifying. A driver who was in the Indy 250 last year, Richard Kinghart in the number 17. Kinghart actually won twice last year, I think, over in the Haas IndyCar Series. Did not get a full-time ride this year, but did sign up here for the Freedom 50. Great to see him back, and definitely a great driver in terms of open-wheel racing here on AG, the channel. A lot of wins over in the Haas IndyCar Series. But an attempt here in the Freedom 50, and someone who absolutely is going to be a threat to win this race. Of course, Ace Garcia. Watch out for Garcia. I'd watch out for Troxell. I mean, qualifying has not been his thing in the past couple of days. Let's put it that way. But if Troxell can get into that top 5 to start, I think Troxell might be a threat to win this race. Kinghart a little bit on the slower side here. But unfortunate for him. Will hit 2:15, but I think it's going to be right around the midway point, maybe around Stephen Colon, Bruno Di Giacomo's time. Let's see, going to minimize here at 2:09 there in turn number 2. Pretty solid, though. Not up to the level of Ace Garcia or Will Parrish, but still going to be a good lap here for Richard Kinghart in the number 17. We're going to be down to one more driver, and that is Thomas Troxell, who I think was probably the biggest story, other than Christian Vargas, of course, winning the pole for the Indy 250. Probably the biggest story is Troxell failing to qualify and not even getting a time in on Saturday. I'll have to see what Troxell can do with his lap. Kinghart's going to go 41.839. That is 12th quickest of 17. One more driver left. That is Thomas Troxell in the 42. And here we go for our last driver here in Freedom 50 qualifying. And I'm sure Troxell is so disappointed to be in this race, especially after all the success he's had in the Indianapolis 250, runner-up in the Indy 250 back in 2021. He finished, no, that was Logan Williams, 2020, excuse me, when he finished second to Nicholas Sanbedillo and was running up front in that race and finished 5th in 2019. Didn't even make the cut this year. And kind of strange to see a driver the caliber level of Thomas Troxell in this race. Of course, Ace Garcia as well, another one of those guys who's a long-time IndyCar veteran in this Freedom 50. But, hey, Troxell's still here, and this is a solid time. It's not going to be for the pole, but, you know, all things considered, I think that's all Troxell wants. It's just a good, solid time because, let me tell you, qualifying form has not been good at all here, especially in the open wheel machines, and had a bad run in the winter showdown on Tuesday. Just has not been his week, but I know he'd love to turn that around, get a win in the Freedom 50, and then maybe back it up with a Coke 600 win tomorrow night as well. Of course, we got that race, the longest race of the season in the Wawa Cup Series coming up too. Tend to forget about that one. Troxell, minimum of 2:06 there off the exit of turn number 4. Gonna be right down the middle here for Troxell as we complete Freedom 50 qualifying. 41.791, that's good enough for 11th. Ace Garcia has won the pole for the Freedom 50. Let's go ahead and show you guys the official starting lineup for the 2023 NR2003 Freedom 50. And that will do it here on Thursday night from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Only 2 days remain in Indy 250 week. And tomorrow at noon, we'll run the Freedom 50 here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. This is how they'll line up. Ace Garcia and Will Parrish in row number 1. Pria McShane and Marcus Glitch in row number 2. Igor Barreto and Loudovick Charette in row number 3. Brennan Wilmington and Demar Patriot in row number 4. Stephen Colon and Bruno Di Giacomo in row number 5. Thomas Troxell and Bryon Webb in row 6. Richard Kinghart and Laura Chung in row 7. Andrew Miller and MJ Williams in row number 8. And then Chris Tejada and Samet Ozkan in row number 9. 20 laps, no pit stops, and it's all for the win, as it's a special event here on AG the channel. And of course, the Indianapolis 250 2 days from now, Saturday, May 27th at noon Eastern Time. Tomorrow, we got ourselves Carb Day practice at 11 a.m. Eastern for the Haas IndyCar Series. Of course, the 33 drivers who qualify for the Indianapolis 250 in that session, and the bonus point will be awarded to the fastest driver in that session. The Freedom 50 is at noon Eastern Time, and then tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, it's the Coca-Cola 600 in the Wawa Cup Series. Thank you guys so much for watching. Congratulations to Ace Garcia for winning the pole here for the Freedom 50, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for the big race. Well, the prelude to the Indy 250, and we'll see you guys on Saturday for the big race, the Indianapolis 250, both at noon Eastern Time on each respective day. Thank you guys so much for watching once again, and I will see you guys later.